Welcome to Podnutz, episode number 70. The computer roundtable discussion where we, each person brings a topic to talk about computer repair related, or in this case, we have some other cool techie stuff we're going to go over and mix it up a little bit. And we hash it out, see what each other's opinions are, throw in all our viewpoints, and just the goal here is to help you guys become better technicians and to have some fun just talking about this kind of stuff. So let me introduce the guests for today, and we will get started. Starting with co-host Matt Rainey from ahcomputers.com. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Steve. Not a whole lot. Normal day. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Now, that was a genuine Matt answer that I feel truly felt.
Okay.
Usually, I don't know if you're going one way or the other, but that was very good.
Neither do I.
Okay, good. Also joining us on short notice, Leaf Glass from nepcservice.com. What's going on, Leaf?
Oh, not much. I'm here again, third week in a row on a show, so...
We're trying to wear you down.
I'm doing something good, I guess.
Yeah, we're just trying to wear you down. That's what we do.
All right.
Also joining us, Dan Hand from acrbo.com. What's going on, Dan?
Hey, Steve.
Good to have you on.
Thanks.
Also joining us, Mike Motto. Remember good old Mike Motto from mflstccomputer.com, which is now defunct. And but if you do want to reach him, he's on Twitter at MFLSTC. He told me the easy way to remember that is muffle stick. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Just because we have a freeze frame of your video.
Yeah, I see it. That's all right.
Yeah, we're good. We can hear you. That's all that matters. What's going on?
Yep. No, not too much, man. Just hanging out.
How you been?
Been pretty good. Been more relaxed now that I'm not working two jobs and fixing computers.
What are you doing these days?
I just do my regular full-time job. I'm doing that and just a lot of stuff that I didn't get done because I was busy fixing computers with all my spare time. So,
Oh, good. Yeah, you got to have some free time to do what you want to do and study what you want to study, and you're going to enlighten us on something that you have an interest in. So, when we get to it,
I hope to.
Yeah, when we get to it, I want to ask you a question about it.
I hope there's a few questions about it that I can actually answer.
Cool. All right, well, let's start off with Matt Rainey, who has a new toy I think he wants to talk about. What do you got, Matt?
Well, I ordered a Chromebook.
Chromebook.
Yes.
And it came in?
I got it in I got it in yesterday. So in case anybody doesn't know what a Chromebook is, it's bigger than netbook. The one I have is an Acer. I think it's 11.6-inch screen, and it just runs the Chrome OS. That's all it does. I wanted to get it to test it. I'm not a Chrome user. I don't use the Chrome browser at all. But I wanted to get this to see what it could do, what it couldn't do. So if people ask me about it, customers, clients, I can tell them what it can do. Plus, I just wanted to play with it.
That I was going to say, come on now. That's the biggest excuse in the book. That's what you tell your wives, not us. But yeah.
I did well. Okay, so I got it in, and I can tell you my first impression of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's say where I'm coming from. My normal notebook is a MacBook Pro. So that's what I'm used to using, is my MacBook Pro. That's a 13-inch. This is the 11.6, so it's a little smaller. Actually, it's an inch and a half smaller, but it seems a lot smaller.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody can see it, and if you're looking at video, kind of small. It's very light, a couple pounds.
Keep showing it to us while you talk about it, if you don't mind.
Okay. There you go.
Oh, you got the Acer.
I got the Acer. So it's off right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to turn it on. So when you first get it, there's only a little setup to it. You turn it on. It asks you what's your Wi-Fi connection, because there's no Ethernet port. It's Wi-Fi only. Ask you what your Wi-Fi connection is to connect. Then it asks you to log in with your Gmail user account. And that's it. After that, you're done. And then you can open the browser. And okay, so it's off right now. It's got an 8-second boot up. So completely off.
Okay.
It's shut down.
Tell us when you start it, because I want to count.
I'll let you see.
Okay.
It's off.
Yes.
And one nice thing is you don't have to press the power button. You just open it. And it turns on.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it ready to use?
Yep, I just got to log in.
Wow,
If
it's true.
if I didn't have multiple accounts on here, it would have gone right to my account right there.
Very cool.
So I just log in with I set up a domain on Google Apps. So it's got, when I log in, I open up the Gmail app. It's there, Google Docs. It's all tied to my Google Apps domain that I set up to test with. Very easy. I have an account for me. I have an account for the one for my wife to test calendar, sync our sharing, and that kind of thing. So overall, it's nice for what you can use it for, which is just the internet. Now, it's got some web apps.
But Matt, when you log in, it's just a Chrome browser, basically, right?
Just a Chrome browser.
Okay.
If I go do a new tab, like in the Chrome browser, you can do a new tab. It shows me the apps that I have installed. And by default, it has Google Calendar, YouTube, Google Docs, Scratchpad, Gmail, Google Talk, and Web Store. That's by default what it has. I added Angry Birds, Flickster, Dropbox, and Google Maps is all I've added so far. It's also got a guest account, so I can give it to anybody. They can log with the guest account. There's no settings saved. They can't see my settings, and they can just browse the internet. Now, of course, the things that make it nice are limitations. You can't do much with it, so you can't mess it up.
Right, like Apple stuff.
You can't mess up Apple stuff either.
But you have limitations too.
Yes, but that's what makes it so good.
Right. For the right person, sure.
Now, one thing I noticed right off the bat is I was reading the paperwork, which I didn't read much. It's got a little pinhole in the back of it. It's a reset button. If anything happens, you just push a paperclip in there and it resets back to factory defaults, and you can log in again. Now, another thing, any Chromebook, from what I understand, any Chromebook I pick up, if I ordered 3 of these things, I could log into any one of them and all my settings are there because it's stored on Google servers. All my apps, all my settings, everything is saved. So if you lose it or get another one, doesn't matter which one you grab, you log into it, your stuff's there.
Okay. All right, initial first impressions. Like it or don't like it?
My initial first impression was that it was built cheaply. The hardware wasn't good. But then I had to take a step back and think, wait, I'm looking at this from the MacBook. I'm comparing it to my MacBook Pro, which is not very fair.
And plus you got the Acer.
Well, the other choice was the Samsung. And from the reviews I read, it said the Samsung wasn't built very well. The reviews I read said the Acer was better.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Plus, I liked the HDMI out on this one. You didn't have that with the Samsung. You had to buy a dongle.
My bad.
So I liked the HDMI out if I ever wanted to use it. And that was the Samsung was, I think, 12.1. This is 11.6.
Right.
So my initial impression was the first thing was it felt kind of cheap. And, of course, the keyboard's a little bit smaller than my MacBook Pro, which you just have to get used to. But I turned it on, set it up, and I gave it to my kids. I let them play with it to see how they liked it because I wanted some other opinions. And my kids loved it. They thought it was great because all they do is get on the internet, play their online games. They thought it worked well. It was light, 16 gig solid state drive. It doesn't get hot. Battery lasts, I think, 6.5 hours.
Did they complain about speed? Any of them?
No.
Okay.
No, the speed is fine. And I did a speed test from here, from other computers in the house, and the speed test was fine. Browsing sites. It's a little bit slower than my MacBook Pro or other computers, but not to where you think, boy, this is just ridiculous. It's not that slow.
Gotcha. Do you think it was worth it in the final analysis? How much did it cost?
I think it was $330.
Oh, that's not bad. Why am I thinking these things are $500?
Well, I got one Wi-Fi only. I didn't get 3G because I don't need a 3G.
Okay. And
the Acer went down. I think it was $349 or maybe it was $349. It was $350 about.
$300. That's not bad.
It's kind of, I would say, between an iPad and a notebook because it's got the full flash support for things if you need that, which an iPad may not be able to do. But of course, the iPad has more apps that you can do on it.
Gotcha.
So it really depends on what you want to use it for. My kids couldn't use an iPad for everything that they want. They could use this for more than they can use an iPad for, and it's cheaper.
All right, well, let's open up the panel for discussion here. What do you guys think about the, based on what Matt said and just in general, the Chromebooks? Are they going to come on strong? Do they think they'll gain some traction, or what do you guys think?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. This will go right back in the bin where it was for about the past month, and I think that's where Matt's will go. There's not much use for it. I mean, it depends what you're going to do with it every day.
Now, what did you hold up?
An iPad.
Just sits there.
Really?
Yeah.
For you, it's yours.
Yeah, I thought it was a good concept when I got it.
Right.
But shortly thereafter found out not really.
So what do you use? Laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still doing the same thing. I mean, as far as tablets go, I bought an iPad. I ended up giving it to my mom, and then I just kept using my MacBook. But then I got it back, and I did find a use for it. That's the thing about tablets. You have to find a use for them. But the Chromebooks, I mean, it's to me, Chromebooks are like that or a netbook. For me, as a geek, I know netbooks would have more functionality for me. But even netbooks are getting phased out. So, do you think, Dan, that they're just going to? Well, but I mean, you don't use the iPad, but everybody else and their mother does. So you think?
I don't know what they're using it for. I mean, actually, I ran across forget his name from your friendly neighborhood computer guy, ynfcg.com. He actually put a blog post out there about apps to use on your iPad, and that was like the first I've seen anything worthwhile. But even that, as far as doing networking and things like that, it isn't really going to come in very handy to take to a business and do anything.
I know for you, yeah. For techs, maybe not. But
Well, that depends on what they're doing in their business. And again, this isn't a primary device. It's like an iPad is a secondary device, a companion device. So if somebody wants to whip out something real quick to get online and check something, this is much faster than a notebook.
Yeah,
Well,
but if I go into a network
I use my iPad for checking all my emails. It does a pretty good job with that. Using the instant messenger on it's pretty good. Looking up maps, got a nice big display. So I use the iPad, and I like it a lot. So I mean, it doesn't do everything, but it does the things that it does do, it does well. I use Log Me In with the Log Me In Ignition. That app's pretty good. It's smooth, responsive, and I like it. So I do use it.
Dan, what were you gonna say?
I look at it from taking it into a network environment. It isn't going to do everything you want as compared to a laptop. Which
definitely not. I agree. They're definitely not. It's got a specific function, right?
An iPad and everything else in with me.
I find it interesting that it's got a reset button. That if anything messes up, you just push the reset button, you log back in, and you're back to where you were. So I don't know how that's going to affect if a lot of my customers get a Chromebook and they just push the reset button just like anything else and get back on it. So that's going to be kind of interesting. There probably won't be too many software calls for it then.
Right. Good point.
Well, and one thing it does have a feature for, if you buy the Chromebook directly from Google, you can enroll this in your centralized management, basically, which means you can define what websites might show up by default, what websites they can go to, what websites they can't go to, what apps they can install, what apps they can't install. So if you're going to have these out in businesses or schools or wherever you want to put them, you can enroll them to do centralized management.
What about like parental controls for home users? Did you find anything for that?
No, for that function, you've got to buy it right from Google. And I guess if I bought it from Google, I could implement those things. I haven't seen anything about parental controls in here. No. So at home on this one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think that'd be pretty important, especially for, what's on the internet, and that's an internet-only device. So I don't know. So if the management services, is that like you have to pay for that, or if this just if you bought it from Google, they include that?
If you bought it from Google, I think you it's a 3-year term. I think you buy it or you get it free with sign up for 3 years for the Chromebook, and with that is included the centralized management. So on this device, since there is no, I'm running OpenDNS in my house. So when she does get on these notebooks, because I have her locked down pretty tight on her notebook, she does have the OpenDNS restrictions in the house with this device.
Sure. Well, that's just you and the people that are aware of it. And I don't know if those parents will just give I mean, it's their own choice, but I would think that there's got to be a way. They should have some parental controls. Most notebooks and things have that these days.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can see on here. I haven't looked at it enough, but what I've seen, I haven't seen any kind of parental controls on here.
Well, I think that their competitive market to those Chromebooks right now are tablets, to be honest. And Dan, though you may not use it for your business, and I don't use it for a lot of business stuff I do, people are gobbling up these tablets and using them for whatever they use them for. My dad can't live without his. He does everything on. He doesn't use his desktop anymore. So I think that the Chromebooks are going to their biggest competitor is going to be tablets. So
Right.
Well, Steve,
yeah, Mike.
I just wanted to jump in with saying that from listening to what Matt said about the Chromebook. To me, the only thing that it seems that it doesn't have, like I have a Galaxy Tab, and about the only thing that has different than that really is a keyboard. You know, I mean, you can really do the same stuff with the tablet, you know, with the Android operating system, the way you log into Google and everything, you know, remembers everything no matter what device you're on. It sort of seems like the same thing in a way.
I think the Tab has more functionality than the Chromebook, to be honest. So do you use your Tab a lot?
I use mine quite a bit. Actually, I just I had to get my Air worked on, my MacBook Air. I had to get that worked on, and while it was gone, the only thing I really had was the Galaxy Tab to use. And the only time there were certain things that you couldn't do with it, so it was sort of limiting. But I could live with it for the most part, using it for everything I did.
What do you do with it mainly?
I mean, I use it for, one of the things I use it for a lot is like the music, because I have the music stored on it and stuff. But I mean, from contacts to email. I also it just everything that I actually did with my Air, I was doing with that, you know, except the things that it was limited on, like maybe playing certain videos or something like that. There may have been a problem with.
Interesting. Good stuff. I mean, I was on the fence about buying a Galaxy Tab. You know, I think it all comes down to who's buying it and what's their main objective and what they need out of the device. So, I think in the long run, I don't think the Chromebook's going to gain enough traction to outsell tablets. I think people want tablets now, and I think iPad started it. And there's enough apps and there's enough functionality of tablets now that they can do pretty much what they need to do with it. That's my guess. Personally, I like Chromebooks. I think probably better than tablets. I'm not a big tablet fan, but I think the general population will probably end up getting tablets. So, what do you think? I
think tablets would be better if everybody was on HTML5.
Right.
Because my wife, the site she goes to, my kids, they can't use the iPad for web browsing at all. They can use it for the apps, but they can't use it for web browsing.
Well, I didn't say iPad. I said tablets. I mean,
well, okay. Even tablets don't have very good Flash support.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So maybe when that happens, I don't browse the internet on my iPad. I'll email, the apps. If I'm just going to sit in my chair or sit down and want something light to do web browsing, this works better.
Right. I'm with you. All right, well, let's just go around and see what you guys think in the final analysis. Do you think Chromebooks are here to stay, Matt?
Well, maybe not Chromebooks, but something similar where it's cloud. Everything's moving to the cloud, so something similar with be it Chromebooks or some other web-based operating system that doesn't have much of a local footprint.
You think the form factor is going to be a flip up like a laptop type deal or tablets for the future?
That's a close call. People like the keyboards. You know, one complaint about everybody having tablets is they want a keyboard. So
Right.
This is a notebook form with the almost tablet-like screen or functionality, right?
Leaf, what do you think?
I think it's a good idea. I'm not sure how they're going to get the market share to get in with all Dells and HPs that are flying off the shelf. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see how they get into the market and go from there. But I do like the idea of, being able to log in with just your name and password and get back to where you were if you go from one thing to the next. And so we'll see.
Well, what do you think?
I like it, but
Okay.
I don't know if I'd buy one, but I like it.
All right. I think the way they're going to get in the market is Google's going to stuff them down our throat. They definitely have the power. We'll see. I'm curious too, actually. Dan, what do you think?
I mean, they're going to sell, but it goes back to the keyboard. I had a lady the other day who was saying about that or an iPad, but started off conversation. She's working on her master's degree. So she said she's going to get an iPad. And I'm thinking, who's going to sit there and work on her master's degree using an iPad? I mean, it makes no sense. So, they're going to sell, but I don't see it being that big.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I recommend working on a Chromebook on your masters either. So that might call for a full
makes no
computer.
sense.
Right. Mike Motto, what do you think?
I don't know. I like the concept too, but I just wouldn't buy one. Of course, I said I probably wouldn't buy a tablet either, and I ended up buying one. So, it's just I personally don't think it will take off, even though the cloud computing and stuff is going to be a big thing. It'll remain to be seen, I guess.
Yes. I don't think they're going to take off either. I think tablets, just because of the traction they've gained and everybody wants one, and I think that is in large part due to Apple. I think that's what's going to hurt the Chromebooks the most. If Chromebooks came out first, it might be a different story. I don't know. All right, let's go to a different topic here. Mike, we're going to head over to you. Leaf, do me a favor. We're getting a little too much noise on your mic. Do you have an input level set with Skype or on automatic, or is it you have it set manually?
I'm not sure. I'll check.
All right, check it out, and if you could lower it just a little bit, that would be cool. Or have a Skype set it to automatic. And if not, it's fine. Don't worry about it. All right, Mike, what do you got for us today?
Well, I came on to talk a little bit about the technology with the most expensive computer that I ever bought.
So you do have one. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I bought a Chevy Volt.
Wow.
And
that's no small purchase.
No, it wasn't. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the technology that it has and some of the things it can do. I think it's cool that the Volt has it now. There may be other vehicles now that has some of the same features as this has, but it just seems so cool with all the stuff it can do. Like some of the stuff is just what I like is, it has a built-in hard drive. It has a 30 gig hard drive built right into the car. So basically what I did is there's a USB port. I could just take and what I like too was it worked with an Android or an iPhone or, any of those iPads or anything. And it'll actually sync all your songs and move your songs to the hard drive. So you don't have to have that hooked up all the time. You don't have to have, whatever you're using hooked up all the time. So that's one of the things that's pretty neat about it. The other thing I like is the Chevy has the built-in OnStar, which you can use for calling and navigation and so on and so forth. And what I like about that is with my Android phone, I can actually use it Bluetooth, and rather than calling through OnStar, I call through my Android phone using the same speaker and hearing it, the same microphone and hearing it through the same speakers as you would OnStar. And there's a dash display, which that's really cool too, because I can actually bring up the phone book from my Android onto that screen and do everything from there. So once it Bluetooths to my phone, I don't have to really do anything with the phone. I can do it all from the dash in front of me, which of course, may not be still totally safe because you sort of have to take your eyes off the road to do it. But, that's pretty neat. And one of the things that I also like is, and you may have seen it on the commercials, is it has the MyLink or the OnStar MyLink. And basically with that, I can start the car, lock the doors, unlock the doors from anywhere with my Android phone and an app.
Really?
Which that's really cool. What I like about that the most is being able to start it, and it'll condition the car and turn on the air conditioning and stuff like that. So when I'm in work, the car don't even have to be in sight, and I can start the car and start cooling it down until I actually get out to it.
How does it run? I mean, how's the handling and handling acceleration, and just how does it run as a car?
As far as that, what it does is the car always runs from the battery. Now, it does have a generator, and basically what the generator does is the generator charges the battery. So as your battery depletes, the battery never goes down below 20%. And if the battery depletes to that, then the generator starts, and then the generator will in turn charge the battery, and the battery drives the car.
So it does have a gas engine in it.
Yes, it does.
I see.
Because the one downfall is with a full charge, which on a 120 volt house regular current, they do give you a 120 charger. It does take 12 hours to charge it, and you only actually get like 40 miles of travel out of that.
Can you use 220?
Yes, and if you use 220, you can buy a different charger, of course, for 220, and it charges in 4 hours.
Uh-huh. Well, that's
so
good.
it does charge quicker.
That's great.
Yep. So, the bad part is you only get 40 miles out of it. Now, I also considered the Nissan Leaf, but the problem with that is you get 100 miles out of the battery. There's no engine backup,
right,
which they sort of like. But if you're going on a long trip and you're getting close to 100 miles, you better find an outlet.
Right.
Or you're going to be setting.
I mean, it's just like running out of gas. I mean.
Right, exactly. Where with the Volt, once you run out of charge, it seamlessly goes over to the generator and starts charging your battery, and you don't even know basically that it's done it. You'll hear the engine some, but and you asked how it ran and it handled.
Yeah.
It runs. It to me it seems to have decent power. I mean, it's not going to be like your Mustang, granted, but it does run. It does run real well. It has a normal mode, a sport mode, and a mountain mode. And if you put it in sport mode, as soon as you do, you can tell the difference. It's going to eat more battery, but of course it's going to go a lot faster, and it has quicker pickup and stuff.
Right. And
when you're running on electric, I was really surprised because it is one of the quietest cars that I've ever driven. I mean, it's almost too quiet,
Right.
It's really weird.
Right.
So
my brother has a Prius, and it's freaky when he starts pulling out like a parking spot. You think the car's just rolling away because it's just all on battery.
I had a Prius before this. That's actually what I had. And then I decided to go to the Volt.
And how's the comparison?
I would take the Volt any day personally over the Prius. That's just my personal opinion. The only thing I don't like is if you've been around your brothers at all, what I used to like was you could have the key fob in your pocket, and I call it like proximity, where you would have the key in your pocket and all you have to do is touch the door locks and they would open. You wouldn't have to push the button on the key fob. It would know it was in proximity, and you'd be able to open the doors.
Right.
Well, the Volt doesn't have that, but I read that it must have been complained about enough because in 2012, from what I understand, they're going to put that on.
Well, I mean, that shouldn't be the deal breaker there.
No, not at all. But I'm just saying, once you get used to it,
yeah,
it does sort of suck when I go and I grab the handle and I expect it to open. It's like, hey, what's that? And it doesn't do it. One of the other things with the technology is with the navigation system, and as the built-in navigation system, one of the other neat things is that you can go to Google Maps. You can put a destination in, and then I can send that destination to the car. I go in the car, I tell it to go to the hands-free mode, and that I want it to tell me the destination, and whatever you name it, and you tell it that destination, and it'll say downloading, and then it'll actually load to that navigation system that's in the center. And you can do it from your computer or your Android phone or whatever, and send the directions directly to it and download them.
So you don't have to use your phone as a GPS. You'll download it right to the computer in the car?
Correct.
Wow.
Yep. And then it goes right to the navigation system.
That's
But it's real easy too. You just go to Google Maps, and it says, how do you want to send this? And it says email, and I think the other option's car. And when you hit car, you have to do it through the OnStar site, but then you do that, and then you can get the directions right from the car.
Wow. Now, this isn't computer related, guys, and I know that, but I thought it was just terribly interesting. We had to have Mike on to talk about this because I've been curious about it for a while. Do you guys have any questions for Mike so far?
Yeah, on the remote activation with the app, how I know with a regular car you can do it with the key, but does it matter on distance or no?
With this remote app, no, because I have the network, be able to get the network on my phone, and basically what it does is, for my understanding is, you say it's not computer related, which really it isn't, but this car supposedly has an IP address attached to it, and it also has, I forget, you could do a search on it, but it has an amazing number of computer codes in this car to make it run. I mean, I forget what the number is. I don't even want to quote it, but it's a lot. So yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as I have a cell phone signal and I can use the app, I can start the car from anywhere. You can be in another state. You can be wherever, as long as you have the cell phone signal.
Yeah.
It is cool.
And I think there might be a market for computer repair techs who want to expand, getting into like fixing computers in cars. I mean, it'll probably eventually will get to that point. I mean, where these things are running like Linux or something, and you'd have to know how to troubleshoot them. So,
well, I don't know what. Like I said, I don't know what it runs, but it has computer code in it to make the car do a lot of the stuff that it does.
Absolutely.
So.
Anybody else have questions for Mike right now? Lee for Matt? About the
I was looking at the site earlier today, and the car does look pretty impressive as far as all the features it has. But kind of like the Chromebook, it needs to gain more market share before I think it's taken seriously. A lot of people just have a negative impression of them, but from what I read on the site and watched the videos, I was impressed with what I saw. If people take the time to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, it has a high price tag, and you don't get many miles on the battery. But somebody has to be the innovator. I mean, down the road, it may be like an Etzel. I may be sorry I bought the thing, and I'm not going to get crap out of it. But it's just,
well, Mike, how much does it cost you on your electric bill to charge it up?
Now, on my electric bill, I can't really tell. But what they say is, if you figure at 9, I think basically for one charge, to do a full charge, and at just a standard rate, they say it could be anywhere from 80 cents to about $1.20 to charge it.
That's it?
Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you plug it in every night, it's only going to charge us until the battery's full?
Correct. And then, it's done. I mean, it may draw some electricity. You know how they say, and I don't know this for sure, but you know how they say if you leave your phone charger plugged in, even though the phone isn't plugged into that, it could still draw. It probably does some, but when I'm done charging, I unhook it and I unplug it from the wall whenever I go out to take it out.
Wow. I mean, because that's the big catch with this, is a money saver. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh yeah, it's great for the environment and stuff," and that might be why some people buy it. But I mean, I think the bulk of people are going to just want to get the oil companies any more money.
Well, I've had, and that's what people say, and a lot of people say, "Well, look, you're burning coal, or the power plant's burning coal to make the fuel to charge your car." Well, and it may not be right, but at least coal is a source that's available here in the States, and it comes from the States.
Right.
I mean, where oil you're buying foreign, most of the time. So and I don't know. That's my feeling on it. But I've had the car since February, and I have about 6,400 miles total on it. And I can tell from the app and stuff, looking at it, almost a little over half of those have been on electric. And it's just because I go on long trips. I go to Philly or somewhere like that. So, of course, you're going to use gas because you have no place to plug it in along the road.
Right. And to power that generator, probably is not taking much gas at all.
No, it gets with a full charge and a full tank of gas, you get about 350 miles out of it. So it equates to about 38 miles at a gallon, but it's not a light car by any means.
Right. And but you could say it equates to 38 miles a gallon, but that's only when you do on a long trip.
On gas, correct.
Right,
I'm saying strictly on gas. Because like lifetime, what it says that I'm getting lifetime is like 72 miles at a gallon between electric and gas.
Gotcha. It's pretty awesome. I have to admit, I have some news. I haven't told anybody this yet. I traded in my Mustang.
There we go.
I was Dan's gonna hate me. I was sick of filling that thing up with premium gas, and it was just freaking. It's a sports car, man. It's a guzzler. You have to be prepared to deal with that. And I wasn't. It was getting. It's fun to drive, but it was getting more aggravating for me to fill it up every week and just freaking get killed at the gas station. So I traded in for I actually got a brand new Chevy Cruze.
There you go.
And the thing gets 35 miles to a gallon on average. It is not a Mustang. In fact, the engine in this car could probably fit in my pocket. But I'll tell you, I'm really happy with the thing.
I'm sorry, what'd you trade it in on, Steve?
I got a Chevy Cruze.
Well, actually, that is the Volt's little brother.
Yes, I see it at the bottom of the page.
That's actually what it's...
I am a lot happier. See, here's the problem. The Mustang is fast. You drive it. The problem is there's traffic laws. I can't go flying around in this thing all the time. So you're always looking over your shoulder for cops. It's you can't have fun with the thing, especially in stop and go traffic. It's a stick shift. It turned into a little bit of a nightmare. And sometimes when I get in my car, I just want to relax and just let my mind just shut down and just chill and drive and look at things. I couldn't do that with the Mustang. The Mustang is a great second car, but it's not, for me, it wasn't a good primary car to have. So maybe, get enough donations, I'll buy another Mustang and keep my Cruze. All right.
Hey, I have one question about the Volt. How's the cabin noise when you're driving? I know the engine's quiet, but how is the noise level inside the car while you're driving?
It's got to be completely quiet, isn't it?
If you mean from the car itself,
no,
rattles
not from the car, just
like
the wind. Because I ride in some cars where you can just hear the outside, just the wind is loud in the car. So if you're going 70 miles an hour down the highway, how loud is the road and the wind?
I don't notice it at all. I mean that's what's amazing, because I've had Chevys before, and I gotta admit I like Chevrolets, and I've been a Chevy man for a long time, but they were never one of the quietest vehicles as far as air leaks and stuff like that. That was another thing that really surprised me with this car. When it is on electric, and I usually have the radio blasting or something anyhow, but I turn the radio down and you actually listen. It's just amazing that how quiet everything is. It really is.
That's good. See, I have a Chevy Avalanche. My wife has a Honda Odyssey van, and her van just makes more noise on the road. I don't take it on trips or long drives. I'll take my Avalanche instead because it's much quieter, and it just the Odyssey's a nice car, but it's just louder, and I don't like it.
That's weird. It's weird from a Honda.
Yeah. Well, no, this thing is definitely quiet. There's just very little road noise at all.
Oh, that's nice.
That's interesting, Mike. Thanks for bringing this to the show. I enjoyed it. Hope you guys did too.
You're welcome. It's like I said, I don't do much with the computers anymore, but I thought this is a pretty neat piece of technology.
Yeah.
And if you look into it, it really is. Is it ready for prime time for everybody? Probably not, but hopefully.
It's bold. It was bold for you to buy it. Glad you enjoyed it.
I got one last question on that. The mobile app thing, it says about using the OnStar, so that means you have to keep paying OnStar in order to get all those features?
I don't know for sure. I would guess, but they actually give you 5 years of OnStar with the car.
Oh, okay.
So of course they believe me, they got it fixed into the price, somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's there. So, you do get it for 5 years. Then after that, I didn't think about that, because I had the 5 years, but I wouldn't doubt, yes, you would have to have that or it's not going to work, because I'm pretty sure it's based on using it in conjunction with the OnStar.
Right.
Yeah, I only got 6 months in my OnStar. As soon as I'll talk about it later. Dan, what do you think about me trading in my Mustang, huh? You like that?
I think it's pretty silly. I use $16 to $20 a day in my Mustang. That's what it costs me.
Yeah.
And some people look at me and say, like, what the heck you do? I could care less.
Do you enjoy driving it?
Oh, 5.0 Jasper dual flow exhaust. Yeah, I enjoy it every day.
Oh, good. That's why you should keep it. I didn't enjoy driving mine. It was a nightmare, and I think the seatbelt kept ripping into my neck. What year was yours?
Well, 88, but I don't wear no seatbelt. That's a safety hazard in my eyes. Not when you're going that fast. You never know what could happen.
Oh, you gotta love Dan.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
If I don't drive a Mustang, it's a lose-lose for me, because then, I drive a wife's car, but she has a 2011 Camaro. So either way, we're just pouring money into gas pumps.
Oh man, whatever you like, whatever you like. What do you have for the show to us tonight, Dan?
Well, I actually, I don't have any little cool tools to fix little repair problems, because typically I don't do that stuff. But one of the things is I heard someone talking about their time, and a couple guys on the forums have been saying about tracking their time. I think people need to look at either a way to do it online, or there's enough apps out there to do it, and pick something up and then actually sit there and make out a schedule, figure out what appointments you have, what marketing you got going, SEO work you need to do, updating your website. Actually, we try to do it every Friday, sit there and actually do up a plan for the following week. Actually do a 30-day plan, but a solid one for the week. I think people need to start putting a plan out there instead of just waking up tomorrow, going to work, and not really knowing what direction they're going to go. I think in order to be successful, you really got to plan something out. Otherwise, you're not gonna make any headway just winging it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that what guys are saying? They're having a problem like scheduling things and keeping track of their time?
Yeah, a lot of guys have been saying it. I mean, on the forum and different chat groups and things like that. I think the majority of people don't actually have a plan what they're going to go by, or something actually documented, and they don't stick by it.
What do you use in particular? And then I'll turn it over to the guys and see what they think. What software or anything do you guys use, or just write it down?
No, well, I mean, a lot of things we use with PC Repair Tracker, but I also got all my guys got iPhones, and we use an app on there and track everything. But the big thing is just, even if you have to write it out on a notepad,
right,
you just got to have something planned out for the week ahead of time instead of going into a blind.
I agree with you. What do you guys think? Leaf?
Well, I find this interesting because I'm coming around the same problem, because my jobs are increasing, which is great, but I'm also trying to balance a home life and all this other things. So it's very, I come to this place where, things are very sudden and I don't know what's going to happen the next day. I'd like to be able to plan ahead, but I'm trying also to find more tools to help me do this. I'm coming to a place where I'm writing down customers' information and things like that. So I'm actually looking for like customer management things and job tracking and stuff like that. So, I mean, if I could build something in where I can, set some time aside to do my invoicing and all my other stuff, that'd be helpful to me.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit of noise from somebody here. Mike, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Who is it? I think it is Mike. Hang on a sec, Mike. Mike, you didn't go into like a radioactive area, did you, or anything?
No, why? What do you hear?
Getting a lot of noise. Hang on one second, guys. Neef, I totally got what you were saying. It didn't cut out at all when you were talking.
Okay.
Hang on, Mike.
Sounds like a helicopter.
Yeah, Mike, let me give you a call right back. Wow, that was nasty. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're not running on battery power or anything, are you?
No, why? What do you hear?
It's getting a little
There's
mixed
Chevy
up.
Volts charging.
Let me give you a call back again. That's weird.
Charging up the Volt. Just plugged it in.
Mike, we're just getting a lot of noise from you. I don't know what it is.
I don't hear. Did it just start?
Yeah. I would try rebooting your router or something.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? I not that I really want to leave and don't want to stay in with it, but until I do all that, you guys just want to continue, and I'll just hang out then.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. I mean, if you want to reboot and try to troubleshoot and call us back, we'll be here. Either way is fine.
All righty. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right, man. I'm glad it happened after you brought your topic. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I didn't do anything different. I have no clue what happened.
Well, now it's fine. So stick with us if you want or not. And
hold on a minute, Steve. It's okay now?
Yeah.
How about now? Is it still okay?
Yeah.
Or are you here?
No.
Oh, I have no clue. I didn't do anything different.
Okay. Something maybe flew over your house or something. Do you want to stay on the call with us, Mike, or it's up to you?
Well, sure, as long as it's not,
Sure.
hindering you.
Yeah, no problem. Stay on. All right, let me hit the record button again. And this will be right where Leaf ended off. So anybody want to say anything about that and anything about scheduling, go for it now. Matt, what do you think? What about scheduling?
Okay, so for
you?
scheduling, I use something different, but so what I use, people aren't going to use. But I can tell you what I used to use that some people might be interested in. It was called Teak, T-E-A-K, Time Expense Auto Keeper. And I used this in the past. It was a BlackBerry app. They had a Palm app. But recently they've came out with an updated app for iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, Palm OS. They got a lot of different platforms they support now. I haven't used it lately, and I just saw that they have an updated app. So I don't know if people want to check that out. It was a really simple app. You just clean your client or your customer. You hit start, you hit stop, and you can email yourself those reports, which was nice.
Called Teak, right?
Teak, yeah. Teak, Teak app.com, I think, is our new website.
Okay.
I can't vouch for the new one. I know in the past I used it, but when I switched away from Palm and BlackBerry, we couldn't use them anymore. But I liked their Palm and BlackBerry apps when they had them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Time expense auto keeper for the modern workforce. Pretty neat.
It was a simple app. I might need to check this out again. But right now we use something called ConnectWise, which it's too expensive for a lot. Really, it's not something you want to look into.
What is it, Matt? Like $20 a month or something like that? How what do you mean expensive? Like $30 a month, maybe? Can't be any more than that, right? What is it, Matt?
It's probably at least half of a volt
per year, right?
No, you buy it.
No,
that's right. There is a support contract after that. So
it's like $15,000.
You're
more?
getting closer.
Wow, I know. I was just messing around.
MSRP for the volt is 41.
Oh, damn! It must be
44.6 for mine.
There you go.
Wow.
It was less than half a volt. So
why do you guys spend so much for that? Why can't you just buy notebooks at Staples? No, but no, seriously. Why is it worth that money?
Well, for everything it does, it integrates all the technicians that we have, centralized work orders, centralized time. It rolls everything into one package, so it makes us a lot more efficient. We can have different plans for different clients if we're doing managed services for this client or a different managed service for this client. So it bundles in a lot of features that we can just have one thing for everybody.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
sounds if you need it, I guess bottom line, if it makes you more money than
right, and that's what it's supposed to be. Before this, we used something called Track It, which was okay. Track it. I'm not sure who makes Numera software. I think it was good, but it didn't integrate as much as to billing software. You had to do double billing, so you had to do it in here, then you had to transfer manually to your billing software, which was a pain.
I gotcha. Well, go ahead, Leaf.
I was going to ask Dan, what do you think is the toughest time to track or to plan for? Because I know you have techs, so I mean, would it be for employees or for yourself, or what do you think is the toughest one to plan ahead for?
Well, I think probably advertising. You have to actually like I said, you got to put in your schedule to actually sit down, X amount of hours a week and, actually do something worthwhile with your advertising or marketing or, SEO. Somehow you have to work that in every single week. It's one of them things, just like when, people have jobs coming in. Today I think my shop, I didn't go there, but they did email me, and I think like 7 came in. Day before I had like 8 come in. Tomorrow may have none come in. But if you're not continually marketing it, you're going to find that sooner or later it's going to catch up with you.
Right. Does that work for you, Leaf?
It does. I'm just trying to balance that right now because I'm getting a lot of things I'm working on, marketing, advertising for myself, and things are going well there. And then, all of a sudden you'll pop in, 3 jobs in a row. Like Friday night, I had 3 jobs scheduled for Saturday during the day, and I had to figure that out. I will make one tip that I did take from one of the Podnutz guys. I think it was Chris Berry. He mentioned, and this was actually made my Saturday go very well because I actually had 3 jobs planned on Friday night for Saturday, and then I had 1 job come through on Saturday that called and booked. So before I used to tell customers I'll be there at 9 o'clock or I'll be there at 3 o'clock. And that actually made more stress on myself than I knew. So now what I do is I like to schedule a 2-hour window. I'll tell the customer I'll be there between 9 and 11. Most likely 9, but if I run late or whatever, 9 to 11. They actually enjoy a 2-hour window, and they're happy that that you're honest with them. So I was able to do that right in a row, and it gives me time to travel and things like that. So I found that relieved a lot of stress on Saturday when I had 4 jobs to do, and on Friday I didn't even know they were going to come until Friday afternoon. So I give them the 2-hour window, and I plan for about 2 or 3 hours to be there, depending on what the job is. If it's a pickup, usually I'll just schedule a small window where I can get there in case I'm late. But that's actually taken a lot of stress off, and now I'm going to start using that for every time I have something. Like tomorrow morning I have a job, and I said I'll be there between 9:30 and 11:30, and they were pretty happy about that. So that's taken a lot of stress off of me trying to be there right at the top of the hour, either on their end waiting for me or my end getting there. So yeah, that's big.
That sounds like a good idea. I mean, I wish I would have implemented it when I was on the road. It does. It gets stressful because a lot of people, especially depending on the kind of person you are, you want to be there on time, and it bothers you if you're not. Yeah, it's a good move.
Well, I didn't even think about it. I mean, I've been doing on-site work for almost a year now, and I don't understand why I never thought about doing that.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody else does it, and they show up. Some companies show up 2 hours after their window.
Right.
Well, if that's one thing. Probably about 6 months before I quit my business, that was something that I started doing too. And I thought, you know what? Verizon does it, cable company does it. So why not give them a window? Because people already, they're used to it with everybody else. Because there are people who would get upset, if you told them you were going to be there at 9 o'clock and you're not there right at 9 o'clock, they're upset, So it's just that is a very good idea.
Did you feel the stress relief come right off of it, like I did? I mean,
yeah, definitely. Because I mean, when you give them a time, and everybody has a life, So I mean, if something else happens in your personal life, you felt you had to be at that appointment. This way, you may be able to attend to that and go. So yeah, there was certainly less stress doing it that way.
Yeah. So I recommend that if anybody's feeling stressed, if they're on site or whatever like that, just give them a window and work with it. I mean, I made a window from. On Saturday morning, I said one job will be there between 9 and 11, and I got there at 10:30, and they weren't stressed at all. They were happy to see me. So that was good.
Well, I guess especially when you give a window, you always have to. You always know that like the cable company or the phone companies always blow it. So you can do better than that at least. So even if you come towards the later end, you're still doing a better job than the other companies that are giving windows. Plus, a 2-hour window is usually good. I don't think the cable and phone companies give 2 hours. They're probably like more like 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have an idea of how far out I have to go and what the plan is. So, I mean, I do plan a little bit, but I like Dan's thoughts. I need to talk to Dan probably later and try to hammer out something. I mean, 30-day plan's a lot, but it sounds like you're going to be successful. You got to have to know what you're doing next.
Well, 30-day plan, Dan, is more like a strategy plan, right? Like instead of more of a tactical type of plan, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you can put down a 30-day plan, like every Tuesday at, whatever, 2 to 3 o'clock, going to do, SEO stuff, or every Thursday, going to work on the website from here to there. I mean, it's all just basic. So every time an appointment's going to override anything, obviously. But if you put the basics on your plan, it's easy to adjust things. And obviously, to some people may seem foolish, but if you're married, give the dang thing to your wife and let her write out her plan first, because it's kind of goofy, but I don't pay attention to 9 out of 10 things in my family unless if someone tells me when it is. So to me, it's much easier for them to tell me when the things are, write it down. That way there's no way I can miss out on them.
You like birthdays and occasions and stuff like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a good idea. All right. Anybody else have anything on scheduling and time management and getting things done?
Yeah, my window's more like 4 or 5 hours.
That just says whenever I feel
time. I tell them usually I'll be there before lunch sometime, or I'll be there after lunch. And then if I can't make the after lunch ones because my morning one ran late, I do call them and say, look, my jobs ran late. I'll either be there late this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
You know what, Matt? Though, I don't know if techs could swing that for residential. I mean, you're doing that for business.
Yeah, I guess residentials need more of a window, but I still, even if you give them a window, I'm sure it's happened to you too, Lee, for whoever's. If you say I'll be there between 9 and 11, a lot of them will hear he's going to be here at 9. That's what they hear. They hear the first time, and they get even still. If I'll tell somebody between 9 and 11, at 9 o'clock my phone's ringing. He said he was going to be here at 9. No, I'm sorry. I said between 9 and 11. So it's some you can't win with, but yeah, for businesses and in residential too, because you might go there for one thing, and they have 5 other things for you to look at, and it runs a lot longer than you allotted your time for.
Yeah, well, I don't know if does the window mean how much time you allot for the job, or just when you're going to be there?
Well, if you have one between 9 and 11 and the other one between 1 and 3,
right?
You're estimating that job will take you so long to be able to get to your next job between 1 and 3.
Right. I think it's a matter of experience, just estimating how much time you're going to be there. But yeah, hey, on jobs I went on, I was usually wrong. So I don't know if it's you'd win on that.
And did you end up showing up late?
If I had to, yeah, I showed up late. But if I was going to show up late for any of my customers, I would call them, and I'd always handled it. So make sure you just keep the communication in.
Definitely call them. And when I'm scheduling all my jobs for my techs, if I think it should take an hour, I'll schedule at least 2 hours for that job.
Yeah.
Just whatever you think, double it.
Exactly.
Usually.
Good stuff. That's a great topic, Dan. Thanks for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
Much needed. Leaf, do you have anything for us today?
Well, I guess I didn't really prep anything. I didn't write anything down like the last couple I've been on. But I'll just talk about what I did on Saturday a little bit. It has to do with customer service. Not only did I plan those windows ahead of time, and that made my day go very well. I drove over 150 miles, and I was cruising along. I had no problem with the 4 jobs I did. The biggest thing, I guess, that I would have to say is that customer service really goes a long way. I went into a client's, a couple, an older couple, husband and wife, and I guess they had an argument before they called me the day before, because my company's name's NEPC Service. They had a complaint that I didn't touch Max. So the wife's saying, no way, you're gonna have to call somebody else. And my husband's like, it's a computer. So anyways, so I go in there and I walk in there, and I see that he's got an iPad on the counter, and he's like, "Oh, that's my wife's iPad." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about it." And he said, "Well, I wish it could make phone calls." And I said, "Well, it does, you know." He's like, "What?" So basically, long story short is, if you're knowledgeable and bring some extra knowledge and spend a few minutes time listening to customers, talking to them. I used to spend a couple extra minutes there, and I set up. I showed them some apps on their iPad and things. I just wowed them. I guess I gave them a wow, a sensation, and they left and they couldn't thank me more enough. I showed them a couple apps, and then I installed Skype for them on all their computers. And I made a longer call than I was going to. I was only going there to add a new wireless router. And ended up fixing the Apple TV, making sure the iPad was working, installed Skype on the iPad, installed Skype on the computer. So I got an extra hour on the call that I wasn't originally going to have. So just sharing the knowledge that you have and opening the door a little bit can make a big difference. And now, I mean, that was a repeat customer, but they didn't really know me, and now they got to know me, and now they're going to recommend me to more people just by spending a few minutes. And it was a Saturday morning, and just sitting around the kitchen table. So sometimes I think you need to. A lot of the techs will probably focus on just getting the stuff done, but there is time where you need to sit down and talk to the people like people and just have a conversation. It can open up a lot of things and actually get you more time there, and people will gladly pay for it if you're giving them good knowledge and give them something they really enjoy. So that's that. I did enjoy sharing the knowledge for that, and I have some other things, but I don't know if anybody has any comment about that.
Yeah, I think it's small. It's being aware, I mean, if you're noticing that they have that iPad and remarking about it and knowing that you could handle a problem for them, sure. I think it's good to be aware and observant. You're like you said, some techs might go in there and try to get the one thing done, have this tunnel vision, and not actually look at what's going on in the room around them. So I think it's a good idea to just have bring your awareness up as you're going out doing these jobs. You guys have any comment on it?
I try to talk to the customer as little as possible. That way I get out of there much quicker. No.
You don't go to the shop very often either, Dan.
Yeah, no. Actually, when I do go on jobs, I actually enjoy it. And some of our business contracts just came, and it was from the sheer fact of sitting there talking to the person instead of just, doing whatever I'm doing and listening to what they have to say. And at least 3 or 4 of our business contracts was just because of that, and come to find out they had a business or they knew someone that had a business, and we got to deal that way.
So you mean just like listening and initiating conversation and chit-chatting with the guys and just getting a real reality with what's going on? Or
I pretty much don't initiate it, but I do listen well. Okay. But when they bring up about a business or they start talking about something, and I'm going to talk to them about whatever.
Right.
And I mean, the business contracts come that way, and got a ton of website work done that way because, they may have small businesses now have a website, and just throw out there that we do that, and just gets a good relationship going with them.
Good point.
Yeah, that's another point. Actually, on the way home, I stopped at Walmart to look to get a new phone for the office here, and I was just in the aisle, and when I was just looking over, this lady was having a hard time trying to find a battery or trying to find a phone just like I did. So I actually stopped and I turned to her and I just made a comment. Said, "Geez, look how can't believe how expensive they are, or I can't believe how many they are." And she's like, "Yeah." And then we just had a conversation just like that. I stopped her and said hi, and she actually said she was going to call me this week when she moved houses to set up a new network. So, I mean, just, that business can come anywhere. You just have to have a smile on your face and, talk. Even if you're having a bad mood, you never know where your next customer is going to come. So I do enjoy being that kind of guy. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. And that's a good point for anybody who doesn't know how to start a conversation. I mean, sometimes it's tough for people. Do what Leaf did. If you're standing next to somebody and they're looking at something, here's all you got to do to start a conversation. Make a remark about what they're looking at. Just make a remark about what they're looking at. Then you have this common reality. You're both looking at the same thing. You're thinking the same thought, and you get into a conversation that way. That's a great way to start a conversation. Take advantage of that that kind of
I
stuff.
was wearing my shirt because I just come from this job, and she's like, "What do you do? How do you know all this?" I was like, "Well, I'm a computer repair tech. I own my own computer repair business." And she's like, "Oh, really? I'm actually going to be moving in a month." And she told me that she was selling the house, whatever. She says, "But I need someone to help install the computers." I'm like, "Well, give me a call." Passed out a couple business cards, and she's going to be calling me. So that was pretty good.
I'll tell you also, just Leaf reminded me of this, and this happens to me, no BS, all the time. I bought a shirt at Micro Center. It says, a T-shirt. It says, "No, I will not fix your computer." I recommend any technician, buy like 3 or 4 of them, wear them all around. Just wear them around, because people will go, "What, you're not going to, I guess you're not going to fix my computer." And you go, "Yeah, I own a computer repair shop." And they go, "Well, I really do have a computer that needs fixing." And you get into all these conversations, and you get jobs that way. You actually, I don't really do it anymore, so I've turned down lots of jobs from wearing that shirt. But that shirt will get you business. I guarantee it. Try it. My little tip. Anything else on this? Where were we going with this? I don't even know.
Well, I have one other thing I picked up on Saturday that was really bothering me for a while. I had a customer that's booked me a couple times, and he bought a new computer because his other computer died. He's pretty far out from me. He's about maybe an hour or so, so it really wasn't worth my time to be going to visit him all the time. So I did a few remote jobs for him, and that was great. But he called me and he said, "Oh, I can't restore my data, my backup. I can't get the data from my backup." So I said, "Okay." And I kept on scheduling remote jobs for him, and I ended up chasing this guy for a long time. I mean, almost a month and a half. Emails, phone calls, voicemails, callbacks, all this other stuff. So I finally just said, I left him a nice detailed voicemail. I said, this comes with the time window too. I said, "I will be in your town between the hours of 12 and 2 on Saturday. If you want me to fix this, I will be there then. If you don't, then we're going to have – I don't know what we can do. We're going to have to schedule something at a later date." And he emailed me back and said, that's fine. We'll be here. Just stop on by. So I guess I don't hate chasing customers, and I don't recommend it at all. So I don't know if anybody has any tips on doing that. But I was firm, and I wasn't angry or anything. I was just firm and said, enough's enough trying to do this remotely. And I said, "I'm going to be there between this time and this time. If you're not going to be there, then we're going to have to schedule this away." And or I was basically going to say, you're going to be out of luck, and you're going to figure it yourself unless you're going to want me to be there. And he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll be there." So it worked out pretty good in the end. But it was just frustrating for a while to chase him, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
I think that you should have the way to handle that is have too many customers that you don't have to chase them. You know what I mean? I think it might be harmful to have customers. You have to have them, or else, you know what I mean? And some guys who are starting off, they're going to be more inclined to accommodate customers that maybe somebody who's getting swamped with customers just doesn't have the time for. So I mean, the handling is just try to get more customers, I think. I wouldn't enjoy it.
I don't like leaving people hanging either. I mean, he bought a new computer, and he's got pictures from his kids from 2002, and he can't find them. And I know they're there because I backed him up for him. So right. I mean, it was a previous customer. It wasn't a brand new one.
Okay.
So kind of felt not obligated, but he had no one else to help him. And I'm afraid that if someone's going to use someone else to help, that they probably won't come back to me. But I mean, at that point, where it's an hour away, it might not even be worth my time. But I was down in that way anyway, so it worked out great. But in the end, chasing this guy was not fun to do.
No, I can't.
There's just certain customers that you eventually have to weed out. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yes.
They're just you find that they're not worth the time for the reason that you're saying, chasing them, or they're an hour away or whatever. There's no matter how many customers you have, there's always a few you're going to have to weed out. It's just a fact.
I don't think anybody should ever feel like they have to have this customer. Like if you feel like that you have to have them, then you just got to get, you're putting too much, I think, stress on it, so. Anybody else have any ideas on this? Opinions, thoughts of the matter? Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Let's roll around. If anybody has any last comments, tips, or anything they want to bring it. Starting with Matt. Anything else, Matt?
Anything else? Not tonight.
Okay.
I will say one more thing. The car thing. The first car that has an iPad dock built into the dash, I'm going to buy that.
They don't have docks, but a lot of them have inputs for
I want a
iPad.
whole little thing I can just dock my iPad for the console.
iPad. You're gonna buy
iPad.
Okay.
There's
Other than
there's a
that,
guy.
what?
I
Oh,
was gonna
sorry.
say there's a guy on YouTube that does that. I saw him once. He took a Toyota truck and built a custom bezel for it. You just slip the iPad right in. And he did a few other cars too. So that was pretty cool to see. But nothing from the factory yet. I haven't seen.
There you go, Matt. Just get one installed in your Avalanche.
Well,
No,
they're getting. I think they're getting close because like the Volt with the actual console that you can see and stuff, and you can call from, and you can also get your navigation from. I bet you that there's going to be where you may have to plug it into the USB, but it's going to come up your whole iPad. It's going to come up there and show up there where you can just do whatever you would do with it, natively.
Right.
Won't be
With the new,
surprised.
it's pretty good. Someday.
Someday soon, I think. Someday soon.
I'll get it.
Yep.
I'll get it when it comes out.
Are you serious?
Unless it's some kind of little car. I need a big truck. I don't want these little cars. I need Expedition, Avalanche. I need something big. So
Okay.
I'm not gonna get it on a little car. It's not gonna work for me.
You're not going to get it on a Chevy Volt, is what you're saying.
Hey, Matt.
No, a little too small. Then the Volt looks nice. It's only a 4-seater because of the way the battery runs. So it's a 4-seater.
Well, the way it runs and the seats in the back are a little more cramped because of that. I mean, there's the back doesn't have near as much room as the Prius did.
Is it a 4-door or 2-door? Or the Volt?
It's 4-door.
Okay.
And Matt, so my other vehicle is a 2500 HD Chevy diesel, so I got a big one to go with the small one.
Oh, wow,
There
that doesn't cancel out. I don't know what does.
Yeah, so it's good for a secondary vehicle, kind of like a Chromebook's a secondary device.
Exactly.
The Volt can be my secondary car.
Matt, where could people find you?
Podnutz Pro. Email me Matt at Podnutz.com or Podnutz Pro on Twitter sometimes if I remember. But also catch me on Podnutz Pro on Wednesday nights.
Awesome. Leaf, any last comments, tips, or anything?
I would say I had an interesting, real quick interaction with a customer. Now, I usually use slide dial to leave people's voicemails because I don't like talking to them. They talk too much. But it was actually interesting. This young woman said, text me. I don't listen to my voicemails. So there's new ways of communicating with people, and if they want to use texting, I mean, I was just saying that's another way, and you might want to ask before you do it, and just keep an idea how people want to be communicated with, because I left her voicemail. She said she would have never gotten it unless I texted her. So
That's a
keep those things up. Someone mentioned on their callback, on their claim check, they have if you want to be contacted by text, email, or voicemail. So keep that in mind. Other ways of getting a hold of customers.
Great tip, man. That's a great tip, especially in this day and age.
Everybody's texting.
Where can people reach you, Leaf, if they want to talk to you?
Let's say, you can look for me on Google+. That seems to be the hot topic this week. So you can just type in, I think it's nepcservice@gmail.com. That's to find me on Google+.
Very good.
I hang out with door to door, except today when he just swore at me on a previous podcast.
He swore at you
Right.
for what?
for ignoring me, I guess. I'm just kidding. But yeah, Google+. So let's try that. So look for me, nepcservice@gmail.com and the Google+.
Very good. Thanks for coming on, Leaf. I know it was short notice.
Not a problem.
Dan, how about you? Any last comments, and then where can people find you?
Find me on acrbo.com, cmonova.com. Just anyone with those big engines out there in them vehicles, sell them like Steve and free up some gas for me.
Yeah, guys, I know when we end this show, Dan's going to give me an earful, so. The ACRBO, by the way, guys, if you don't know what it is, you should just go to the site and check it out. If you're a computer repair business owner and you haven't gone there yet, you're missing out. It's a really good idea for any person in this business to go there, and it builds a community of computer repair business owners, and they have it. Because everybody has common interests and goals, that site is where you actually, could benefit as a computer repair business owner. Great site. It's a great service that Dan has provided. So thanks, Dan, for that.
Thanks.
Mike, where could people find you? And last comments.
For if any reason you would like to know anything about the Volt, MFLSTC on Twitter and MFLSTC@gmail.com. I like talking about the vehicle, so if you want to know anything about it, let me know.
Sounds good. You'll probably have some people checking that out because it's a very interesting vehicle. It really is. So
Does the vehicle itself tweet, or was that going to come up in the next version?
I don't know if it tweets.
I think I'll have to wait for the next version.
Oh, okay.
It calls the dealership though, right, and tells it if anything's wrong. It tweets the dealership.
Well, I'm not sure if it goes to the dealership. It may. It may. I know OnStar will definitely do a diagnostics for you. Yes, and you know what? I think you're right. I think it can now through that My Link.
Oh, cool.
As long as it doesn't contact the local police office, you'll be all set.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mike is speeding. Mike is speeding.
Send a ticket here.
All right, Mike. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for
Good to
having
see
me.
you, Mike. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here.
Oh, by the way, Mike is the big instigator of people going to CES, and we're going to be doing like a Podnutz contingent going to CES this year. That's going to happen, right, Matt? Right, Matt?
As far as I know, it is.
Okay, well, we got to schedule it before he changes his mind. And so we are going to be in going to CES. If anyone wants to go to CES, and maybe we'll pick like a meetup spot or something, we'll all hang out. So that might be cool. That might take the place of the Podnutz party, which happened one year and hasn't happened since. All right, well, that's going to be it for Podnutz. Hope you guys enjoyed the variety of stuff we brought to the show tonight, and we'll see you next time.